the truth you were never supposed to hear. Something has been happening in your life that you cannot explain. Doors closing, relationships shifting, a pressure building in your chest that feels bigger than circumstance. You thought it was random. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself you were overthinking. But deep down, you know this is not random. It never was. This is bigger than your comfort, bigger than your fear, bigger than the version of you that wants to stay small. The weight you've always carried. From a young age, you felt different. Not better, not superior, just different. You saw through things others accepted without question. You sensed motives before words were spoken. That awareness came with isolation, with misunderstanding, with being labeled too intense or too sensitive. But sensitivity was never your weakness. It was your signal. The awakening that disrupted your life. Awakening is not soft. It is not aesthetic. It does not arrive wrapped in comfort. It disrupts. It exposes. It removes illusions you once depended on. You started questioning everything. Your environment, your relationships, even yourself. And that questioning felt dangerous, because once you see truth, you cannot unsee it. Why this feels bigger than you? You keep asking, why is this happening to me? Because it was never just about you. Your growth affects rooms you haven't entered yet, people you haven't met yet. Your obedience to truth will ripple further than your imagination can reach. The resistance around you. Have you noticed how resistance increases the moment you try to elevate? Sudden criticism, unexpected setbacks, old temptations resurfacing. It is not coincidence. Growth threatens systems built on your silence. And when you stop shrinking, the world feels it. The loneliness of clarity. Clarity creates distance. You begin to outgrow conversations that once entertained you. You feel disconnected in rooms where you used to belong. Not because you think you are above anyone, but because your soul refuses to pretend anymore. The cost of being awake. Being chosen does not mean being exempt from struggle. It means being refined through it. While others avoid discomfort, you are shaped by it. Pressure reveals what comfort never could. The signs you tried to dismiss. Synchronicities you brushed off. Dreams that felt too vivid to ignore. Moments where your intuition screamed and later proved right. You are not imagining the pattern. There is one. Why society prefers you asleep. A distracted mind is easy to control. An awakened mind asks questions. Questions challenge narratives. And narratives built on illusion crumble under scrutiny. The internal battle. Your greatest conflict was never external. It was the war between who you were taught to be and who you truly are. Comfort fought calling, fear fought faith. And every time you chose growth, something inside you strengthened. The misunderstood path. People may not understand your silence. They may misinterpret your boundaries as arrogance. They may feel uncomfortable around your authenticity. But authenticity will always disturb those committed to masks. The refining fire. You thought the setbacks meant you were failing. In reality, you were being purified. Every betrayal sharpened discernment. Every disappointment redirected your path. The expansion you can't contain. Your vision has grown. What once satisfied you now feels limiting. You crave depth over noise, purpose over popularity. That craving is not ego, it is alignment. The responsibility of awareness. Once aware, you cannot return to unconscious living. You see manipulation faster. You feel misalignment quicker. You sense when something is off before evidence appears. Awareness carries responsibility. The fear of your own potential. Part of you knows what you are capable of. And that part terrifies you. Not because you doubt your ability, but because you understand the sacrifice required. Growth demands courage. The isolation before elevation. There is a season where you walk alone. Friends drift, support fades, silence grows louder. This is not abandonment, it is preparation. Isolation builds internal strength. The break from old identity. You cannot step into expansion while clinging to expired versions of yourself. Old habits must die. Old narratives must be challenged. Reinvention is uncomfortable, but necessary. The spiritual sensitivity. You feel atmospheres shift the moment you enter a room. You sense tension without words being spoken. You discern authenticity from performance. This is not paranoia, it is perception. The tests that shape you. Every challenge has been a mirror, showing you where fear still lingers, showing you where healing is still required. Tests reveal readiness. The voice within. There is a quiet voice guiding you. It does not scream, it whispers. When you ignore it, chaos increases. When you honor it, peace returns. The bigger assignment. Your growth is not just personal development. It is preparation for impact. There are conversations you will lead. There are spaces you will influence. The breaking point. You reached moments where quitting felt easier, where shrinking seemed safer, but something inside refused to let you surrender. That resilience is not accidental. The power of discernment. You now choose carefully who you allow close, what you consume, where you invest your energy. Discernment protects destiny. The shift in priorities. Validation no longer drives you. Alignment does. You would rather be authentic than applauded. That shift changes everything. The pressure before breakthrough. When pressure intensifies, it signals expansion. You feel stretched because you are growing. You feel uncomfortable because you are evolving. Pressure precedes transformation. The courage to stand alone. There will be moments when standing for truth isolates you, when integrity costs opportunities, when conviction invites criticism. Stand anyway. The legacy you're building. You may not see the full picture yet, but your obedience today plants seeds for tomorrow. Integrity compounds over time. Character outlives applause. The call you cannot ignore. No matter how far you run, the calling follows. No matter how small you try to play, the discomfort returns. You were not designed for mediocrity. You were designed for impact. The moment of decision. This is the crossroads. Continue shrinking to stay comfortable, or rise knowing it will cost you familiarity. The decision defines the direction. Embrace what you now understand. This is bigger than your fear, bigger than your doubt, bigger than your current circumstances. You are not chosen to feel superior. You are chosen to carry responsibility with humility and strength. Stop questioning why your path feels different. It is different because your assignment is different. If this message spoke directly to you, if you felt seen in words no one else could articulate, then this is your confirmation to step forward. Like this video so others who feel isolated can find it. Comment, "I accept the call" if you are ready to stop shrinking. And subscribe to Return to Awakening so you don't miss the next message meant for those who know they were never ordinary. The season of hidden preparation. There are chapters of your life that feel invisible. No applause, no recognition, no obvious progress. Just repetition, discipline, obedience in private. But hidden seasons are never wasted. They are where foundation is built. The breaking of pride. You had to unlearn the need to prove yourself, to release the obsession with being understood, to let go of defending your every move. Humility is not weakness, it is strength under control. The separation that felt like loss. Some connections ended without explanation. Some opportunities dissolved right when you felt close. You called it loss. But sometimes separation is protection in disguise. The burden of vision. When you see further than others, it becomes heavy. You recognize consequences before they happen. You detect cycles before they repeat. Vision carries weight because it carries foresight. The discipline no one applauds. You are fighting battles no one sees. Resisting habits that once controlled you. Silencing impulses that would sabotage your future. Private victories create public impact. The growth that feels uncomfortable. You no longer fit into spaces that once felt familiar. The jokes don't land the same. The conversations feel shallow. Growth changes your appetite. The battle with doubt. There are nights when uncertainty whispers loudly. When you question if you imagined all of this. When you wonder if it would be easier to return to who you used to be. But doubt is loudest right before clarity deepens. The strength built through rejection. Rejection did not destroy you. It refined your direction. It filtered out what was not aligned. It taught you not to chase what was never meant for you. The calling that demands maturity. You cannot carry greater responsibility with a fragile mindset. So life stretched you. It forced patience. It required emotional control. The quiet confidence forming within. You no longer need to announce your growth. You feel it internally. A steadiness replacing anxiety. A calm replacing chaos. The awareness of influence. You underestimate how many people watch you silently. How your resilience inspires without speeches. How your discipline challenges others to reflect. Influence is not always loud. The refinement of intentions. Your motives have shifted. It is no longer about being seen. It is about being aligned. When intention purifies, impact multiplies. The detachment from external validation. Approval once fueled you. Now integrity does. You are willing to be misunderstood to remain authentic. Freedom begins there. The expansion of perspective. You see trials differently now. Instead of asking, why me, you ask, what is this shaping? Perspective transforms pain into preparation. The alignment with purpose. There is a clarity forming. Subtle but undeniable. A sense that your steps are guided when your intentions are pure. And that realization changes how you move, the collapse before construction. There are moments when everything seems to fall apart at once. Plans fail, stability shakes, certainty disappears. It feels like punishment. But sometimes destruction is the first stage of reconstruction. The purging of distractions. You've noticed your tolerance shrinking. For gossip, for chaos, for empty noise. What once entertained you now exhausts you. Clarity eliminates what no longer serves the mission. The stretching of patience. Delays test your trust. Waiting stretches your character. You are being taught endurance in a world addicted to speed. What is built slowly is built to last. The confrontation with your shadow. Awakening is not just light. It forces you to face the parts of yourself you avoided. The ego, the insecurity, the hidden pride. True growth requires honest reflection. The strengthening of boundaries. You say no without over-explaining. You protect your peace without guilt. You withdraw from environments that drain you. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. The shift from reaction to response. You no longer react instantly. You pause, you observe. You respond with intention instead of emotion. Control over self is real power. The refining of speech. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You choose silence over pointless arguments. You understand that not every thought deserves expression. Wisdom values restraint. The testing of loyalty. Some will only support the version of you that stays small. When you expand, their comfort is disturbed. Distance exposes true alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk the full journey with you. The awareness of time. You feel urgency without panic. A quiet understanding that time is valuable. You invest differently now. You protect your hours like treasure. The deepening of faith. You trust the process more than appearances. Even when evidence is limited. Even when the path is unclear. Trust grows through experience, not theory. The inner stability emerging. Storms still come, but they do not shake you the same way. You recover faster. You center quicker. The courage to be misunderstood. You accept that not everyone will see what you see. You no longer shrink to fit limited perceptions. You allow others to misunderstand you without losing yourself. That freedom is powerful. The commitment to integrity. You choose what is right over what is convenient. Even when no one is watching. Even when shortcuts seem tempting. Character defines destiny. The sensitivity to truth. Half-truths disturb you. Manipulation feels obvious. You sense authenticity instantly. Discernment has become your compass. The refinement of desire. Your ambitions are no longer fueled by ego. They are guided by purpose. You desire impact, not applause. Depth, not distraction. The recognition of cycles. You notice patterns repeating in others' lives. You see lessons ignored. You see consequences forming before they arrive. Awareness keeps you from repeating what you've outgrown. The quiet preparation for impact. You may feel unseen now, but preparation often happens in silence. Skills are sharpened privately. Character is strengthened without an audience. The expansion of emotional control. You feel deeply, but you are not ruled by emotion. You process instead of explode. You reflect instead of react. Emotional discipline sets you apart. The alignment of actions and values. You no longer say one thing and live another. Consistency matters to you. Integrity feels more important than image. Alignment creates internal peace. The awakening to responsibility. Being chosen is not a badge. It is a burden of responsibility. You are called to live with intention, to move with awareness. The growing certainty within. Even when circumstances feel uncertain, something inside you is steady. A knowing without loud evidence. A calm without full explanation. That inner certainty is the foundation of your next level, the pressure that reveals capacity. You wondered how much more you could handle. Then life increased the weight. Not to break you, but to reveal how strong you've actually become. The separation from comfort. Comfort once felt like safety. Now it feels like limitation. You sense when you are settling, and something inside refuses to stay there. The death of the old narrative. You were told who you were supposed to be. What was realistic, what was acceptable. But that script no longer fits. You are rewriting your identity with intention. The awakening of moral clarity. Right and wrong feel sharper now. You cannot participate in what violates your conscience, even when it benefits you temporarily. Conviction has become non-negotiable. The discipline of consistency. Motivation fades. Feelings fluctuate. But discipline remains. And discipline is building a future your emotions could never sustain alone. The understanding of influence. You realize your life is a message. Your reactions teach. Your boundaries communicate. Your silence speaks. The patience to build quietly. You no longer rush to display progress. You build in silence. You allow results to speak later. Silence protects what is still growing. The refinement of focus. Distractions once pulled you easily. Now you guard your attention. You choose depth over endless scrolling. Focus multiplies effectiveness. The growth in emotional detachment. You care deeply, but you are no longer entangled in everything. You release what you cannot control. Detachment preserves energy. The internal leadership. You stop waiting for permission. You stop seeking constant reassurance. You lead yourself first. Self-leadership changes everything. The awareness of spiritual warfare. Not every battle is visible. Some resistance is subtle. Doubt, delay, distraction. But awareness prevents surrender. The strength in restraint. You could respond. You could retaliate. But you choose restraint. Power under control is greater than power displayed. The shift from fear to trust. Fear still whispers, but it no longer commands. Trust has grown louder, and trust moves you forward. The deepening sense of assignment. This life is not random. Your experiences were not accidental. Your trials were not pointless. They were preparation. The realization of impact beyond sight. You may never see every life you influence, every heart encouraged, every mind awakened by your courage. But impact does not require visibility. The separation from comparison. You no longer measure your journey against others. You understand timing is unique. Comparison distracts from purpose. Alignment replaces competition. The expansion of inner peace. Chaos can surround you, but peace now lives within you. It is not dependent on circumstance. It is rooted in conviction. The refinement of identity. You are no longer defined by past mistakes or by labels others assigned. You have stepped into awareness, and awareness reshapes identity, the strength to withstand misinterpretation. There will be moments when your intentions are twisted, when your silence is mistaken for weakness, when your boundaries are labeled as pride. But maturity means staying grounded without constantly correcting every narrative. The courage to outgrow familiar spaces. You feel it now. Certain environments no longer fit your spirit. They feel tight, restricted, draining. Growth requires the bravery to leave what once felt like home. The refinement of emotional intelligence. You recognize your triggers faster. You take responsibility for your reactions. You apologize when necessary without losing self-respect. Self-awareness has become your daily discipline. The resistance that confirms direction. The moment you commit to elevation, opposition increases. Not because you are wrong, but because progress disrupts comfort zones. Resistance often confirms you are moving correctly. The stability formed in silence. You are not as reactive as before, not as easily shaken, not as desperate for attention. Silence has strengthened your core, the evolution of your standards. You no longer tolerate what once felt normal. Disrespect, inconsistency, manipulation. Your standards rose when your self-worth did. And not everyone will qualify for your next season. The realignment of relationships. Some people were seasonal. They were lessons, not lifetimes. Releasing them felt painful, but holding on would have been heavier. The discipline of self-control. You choose your words carefully. You manage your impulses intentionally. You understand that self-mastery precedes external influence. Control over self is greater than control over others. The deepening awareness of accountability. You no longer blame circumstances for everything. You reflect inward first. You ask what you can improve. Accountability accelerates growth. The sensitivity to energy. You enter rooms and feel shifts instantly. You sense sincerity or deception without lengthy conversations. You notice tension before conflict surfaces. Perception has sharpened with awareness. The patience to trust timing. You once rushed outcomes. Now you understand delay is not denial. Preparation often requires more time than expectation allows. Timing protects what purpose intends to preserve. The commitment to personal integrity. You are consistent in private, not just in public. You refuse to compromise your principles for temporary gain. Integrity builds unshakable foundations. The internal separation from ego. You are learning to move without needing constant recognition, to act without announcing, to give without broadcasting. Humility strengthens character quietly. The strength developed through solitude. Solitude once felt like isolation. Now it feels like clarity. You think deeper. You pray stronger. You reflect without distraction. The awareness of influence expanding. Your mindset influences conversations. Your discipline influences outcomes. Your presence influences atmospheres. Whether you acknowledge it or not, you carry weight. The growth in emotional maturity. You do not respond to every provocation. You do not chase every opportunity. You filter what deserves attention. Maturity is selective energy investment. The courage to accept responsibility. You understand that calling comes with obligation. You cannot live casually when you are aware. You cannot move recklessly when you see clearly. Awareness demands accountability. The realization that this is bigger than you. Your journey is not only about personal elevation. It is about example, about breaking cycles, about modeling integrity in a world that normalizes compromise. The unshakable inner knowing. Even when uncertainty surrounds you, something within remains firm. A conviction that cannot be easily explained. A calm that persists despite pressure. That inner knowing is not arrogance. It is alignment forming into certainty, the discipline of daily obedience. Greatness is not built in dramatic moments. It is formed in daily decisions, in small acts of consistency, in choosing what is right when no one applauds. The awareness of generational impact. You are not only shifting your own life, you are disrupting patterns that existed before you. Cycles of limitation. Cycles of silence. The strength to break patterns. It takes courage to say, "It stops with me." To refuse to repeat what harmed you. To model something healthier. Pattern breaking requires intentional living. The expansion of mental clarity. You think differently now. Less reactive. More strategic. You see consequences before they unfold. The refinement of speech in silence. You do not overshare anymore. You understand that not every revelation is for every ear. You guard what is sacred. You speak when it aligns. The emotional resilience forming. Disappointment still stings, but it does not paralyze you. You recover faster. You adapt quicker. The alignment between belief and action. Your words and actions are beginning to match. No more double-mindedness. No more performing. Consistency strengthens identity. The courage to walk away. You have walked away from opportunities that compromised your peace, from conversations that drained your spirit, from dynamics that demanded you shrink. Walking away is sometimes the strongest move. The shift from popularity to purpose. You are no longer impressed by attention. You are drawn to meaning. You would rather build substance than image. Purpose outweighs applause. The awareness of subtle tests. Life tests you quietly, through temptation, through impatience, through ego invitations. The deepening of spiritual discipline. You are more intentional now, more reflective, more conscious of your thoughts. You protect your inner world carefully. The realization of personal responsibility. No one else can carry your calling. No one else can walk your exact path. Support may come and go, but responsibility remains yours. The strength to stay grounded. As you grow, you guard humility. You remember where you started. You remember the lessons that shaped you. Grounded growth lasts longer. The inner detachment from approval. Criticism does not crush you. Praise does not inflate you. You are learning balance. You are learning stability. The expansion of vision. Your goals are no longer shallow. They stretch beyond comfort. They stretch beyond ego. They align with impact. The patience to build legacy. You are thinking long-term now. Beyond quick wins. Beyond temporary recognition. Legacy is built through consistent character. The understanding of sacrifice. Elevation requires letting go. Of comfort. Of certain relationships. Of outdated identities. The strength to continue when unseen. Not every effort is recognized immediately. Not every sacrifice is noticed. But unseen effort still produces visible results in time. The realization that pressure is purposeful. Pressure is not random. It reveals cracks. It strengthens weak areas. It prepares you for greater capacity. The calm before the next level. There is a quiet shift happening. Subtle but undeniable. You feel transition in the air. You sense preparation reaching completion, the threshold of transformation. You can feel it. A line you are about to cross. Not physically, but internally. An old version of you is expiring. The weight of greater awareness. You cannot pretend ignorance anymore. You see too much. You understand too clearly. Awareness has changed how you interpret everything. The responsibility to model integrity. You realize eyes are watching. Not because you seek attention, but because consistency stands out in a distracted world. Your life has become a quiet example. The endurance built through delays. Some promises took longer than expected. Some doors remained closed longer than comfortable. But delay developed depth. Depth prepares you for sustainability. The shift from emotion to conviction. You no longer move only when you feel inspired. You move because you are convinced. Because you know who you are becoming. Conviction outlasts emotion. The strength to carry silence. Not every vision needs announcement. Not every dream requires validation. You have learned to carry big ideas quietly. Silence protects fragile beginnings. The clarity about who you are not. Just as important as knowing who you are, is knowing who you are not. You no longer force identities that never fit. Clarity simplifies decisions. The patience to let results speak. You are no longer in a rush to prove anything. You are focused on becoming. Results will follow character. Character takes time to refine. The internal authority growing. You trust your discernment more now. You second-guess yourself less. You reflect, then decide. Inner authority replaces external dependence. The release of old fears. Fears that once controlled you feel smaller. Not gone, but weaker. Exposure has reduced their power. Courage grows through repetition. The consistency of private discipline. Your routines have strengthened. Your habits are intentional. You protect your mornings. You guard your thoughts. the expansion of emotional stability. Storms still arrive, but you no longer collapse under them. You bend without breaking. Resilience has matured within you. The alignment with higher purpose. Your decisions are no longer random. They are filtered, measured against values, measured against calling, the acceptance of necessary loss. You have stopped fighting every ending. You understand some chapters must close. Holding on can delay destiny. Release makes room for renewal. The growth of strategic thinking. You plan with intention now. You think beyond immediate gratification. You analyze consequences. Wisdom guides movement. The deepening of gratitude. You appreciate lessons more than comfort. Growth more than applause. Peace more than noise. Gratitude sharpens perspective. The maturity to admit mistakes. You own your missteps. You correct course quickly. You do not hide behind excuses. Humility accelerates development. The stability that cannot be faked. What is forming inside you is real. Not performance, not image, but authentic transformation. The awareness that this is preparation. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every setback shaped resilience. Every disappointment sharpened discernment. Every delay strengthened patience. The quiet confidence before emergence. You are not loud about it, but you know something has shifted. Your posture is different. Your focus is sharper. Your spirit feels steadier.